I think it's a cruel code to communicate the crisis of Ghana's health system. Okay, and it comes back to the attitude that you talk about. So granted that there are problems, is this the best way we can communicate as managers, as practitioners of this failing and murderous health system? It's cruel that we have to watch unconcerned people die just to communicate to the governors or those running the country that these are the things that we need. We don't have a functional ER, we don't have properly trained staff. So that is cruelty. Now, going to the point about repeatedly doing the wrong thing. There is no enforcement of guidelines, but consistently guidelines are published. They are repeated to the public by regulators, by the ministers. We continue to hear these guidelines being eloquently phrased and captured in documents with appeals and pleas to the people who are supposed to use them in or apply them in their work. Only that the people who are supposed to enforce the application of these guidelines are failing to do that. And that creates impunity. The doctors can afford, or the health professionals, without targeting any particular, the health professionals can afford to stand at their gate and negotiate somebody's life because there's impunity. Because there is no accountability. No hospital, no health professional has been made an example of when it comes to losing people's lives. Yesterday I talked about arrests happening in Hong Kong while the fire service were dousing a store, an apartment, a fire that had happened. People who were, even at that point, deemed to have been negligent were arrested. Nothing like, no head rolls when somebody loses their lives, a person loses their life over what would appear to be the negligence of somebody else. And in this case, it is health professionals who have the duty of care. For me, I will put all of this together and say, this failed and murderous health system is a signal, is an opportunity, in as much as it's painful. And I will put it at the doorstep of the health ministry and the health minister, Mr. Kwabena Akandoh, and the agencies that he works with, some of which are regulators. I ask again, knowing, because these problems, yesterday Uncle Sam talked about 2011. 2011 is when we started talking about this. Caleb reported a similar case in 2018. It is not new to any of the people who have been appointed to manage the healthcare system. And there are symptoms of a cancerous problem that we have. Look at the Mamobi hospital. How did somebody walk into a hospital, pick up a baby? This is a hospital that I suppose have security. I suppose they monitor the personnel working there. But it happened. These are telling us that these are the symptoms of the crisis that we exist in. I continue to expect to hear the vision to solve the clear problems. We don't need any more investigations. We don't need any more committees to sit, most likely at the expense of taxpayers, to tell us what we already know and what we already experience. Caleb made the point that almost every Ghanaian can tell you their experience at a hospital. There was one comment who said that they asked them, do you have money? Survival is being monetized.
Sometimes they will even ask you to pay before they look at the person.
Survival is being monetized. These are not new problems. If we can talk about this subject for the whole year, and every day we read new messages. We don't need any more investigations. We need the minister and his stakeholders to sit down and tell us how they are going to fix the problem. And the problem, as you've said, it goes beyond the individual health professional who appears to lack empathy, who appears to not have the requisite training, and the health facilities that appear not to be fit for purpose, not to have competently functioning emergency departments. What is his vision? What is the strategy to achieve that? I place that burden on the head of the health minister, Kwabena Akando, and his people, relevant agencies.